As a public defender, Judge Karen fought for her client's rights. She was elected to the bench because she believes in doing the right thing.
I'm very passionate about helping people, period. Y'all two grown people need to get your own house.
Right.
You had 7 years to have told him that. When we fight, who's gonna win?
You are.
I don't answer questions, I ask them.
Yes, ma'am.
Raise your right hand.
Objective, independent justice.
I'm ready to rule. If you keep walking, you can overcome whatever circumstances you're facing.
This is Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Stan Montgomery is suing Bill Dyer in the amount of $519.83. Mr. Montgomery claims he hired Mr. Dyer to reframe and hang a picture and says the defendant should pay for the damage caused when the picture wasn't secured properly and fell.
Mr. Montgomery, you're suing Mr. Dyer for $519.83 for negligence, is that right?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay. And it has something to do with this picture frame, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your relationship with the defendant?
I hired him to do some work for me.
Okay, what do you do for a living, sir?
I do picture framing and professional hanging, and then we also do the earthquake proofing of the artwork in homes.
And how did you meet the defendant?
I walked into his brick and mortar location in Sausalito, California.
Okay, and what was the discussion?
He was supposed to reframe my artwork and then put it up in my house.
Oh, okay, so you brought in a piece of artwork that needed to be framed or reframed. It was in its own an old frame.
Yes.
And then to come and hang it.
Yes.
So what was the cost to reframe and hang the artwork?
It was $250 to reframe,
Okay.
$250 to just hang it, and then $500 to retrofit it so it's earthquake proof. So
Okay, so that was like a proposal.
yeah.
May I see the proposal?
Sure.
And was this a conversation that you had when you walked into his shop?
Yes.
But now this is an invoice you gave him for $195.
Yeah, I mean, the estimate was basically the invoice.
Okay. Did he agree that you would earthquake proof?
Yes, it was part of the package.
It was part of the package.
It was.
Okay, so he gets there to do the work. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, what's going on when you get there to do the work?
Usually it takes about 4 hours, depending. Like I say, each job is separate.
4 hours to hang a picture?
To hang it.
That's what I said.
And earthquake proof it. Yeah.
Oh, it takes 4 hours. A picture this size?
Yeah, it
Okay.
depends, because I have to assess the walls, I have to find studs, I have to,
You
evaluate.
get a stud finder. They sell them for like $8.99 at Home Depot to find a stud.
Thank
There's
you,
no
Your
big
Honor.
deal finding a stud in a wall.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Well,
I'm trying to figure out the 4 hours for this. Let me hear about what it would have taken to earthquake proof this.
we decided that 2 of the locking hooks would work.
Right? What are locking hooks?
They're hooks where the picture can't bounce.
You shouldn't have to describe this to me. You should have brought them so I could see what a locking hook is compared to any other hook that you hang a picture.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't need you to help me do my job.
Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't bring it?
No, I didn't bring
Because
them
I
up.
don't understand what the difference is between hanging a picture securely and hanging a picture.
Well, basically, it's a hook like this.
Right,
and,
yeah.
In an
like
earthquake,
that.
it
I don't
can fly.
read sign language. So I don't know what that is.
Okay.
What else did you determine? It needed these locking hooks.
Yeah, the locking hooks that
Right.
keep the wire from bouncing out when there's an earthquake or a tremor.
Right. Can we see the back of this picture?
I hadn't done it. I hadn't done it.
No,
I
no, no.
hadn't done it.
I'm going to ask you. You can turn it around
I
so I
haven't
can
done
see
the
back.
earthquake proof yet.
I understand that. Did you put these 2 hooks on here?
No.
Well, who put those 2 hooks on it?
They were on the frame, I guess.
What is this frame?
This frame was given to me by a third party, and I asked this gentleman to put the artwork in the frame.
This particular frame?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did he do that?
He did do that.
But the wire was already on the frame.
So then what did you do?
Well, we put the locking hooks in.
The locking hooks are the earthquake hooks, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're on the wall, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, so you
bounced.
came. What was something going on at your house when he first arrived?
I was preparing for a dinner party, which he knew about.
Okay.
He told me this was going to take about 2 hours to complete.
Okay.
So I was.
Did you see him doing some assessment?
Yeah, he came in and he
Right.
was walking around looking
Right.
like he'd never been in a house like this before. I mean, he
Right.
was looking at the views and taking pictures of my other artwork, and I'm looking
Were
at him
you
like,
taking pictures of his other artwork?
I was taking pictures of the way some of the other artwork was hung. Yeah, I was doing my assessment. I'd
Right.
look at the walls, see how the other artwork is
Okay.
hanging,
And you told-
whether the other artwork is sturdy.
Okay,
You know,
and
and I've
you-
been in a lot of homes.
Okay, but after having made this assessment, though, you told him it was going to take you 2 hours.
I told him it was going to take me 2 hours
2
to
hours.
just get it up on the wall,
Right.
because he had a party coming up.
Right.
So
I
we could
understand.
get it on the wall. And I told him that I need to come back to do the earthquake proofing, because that's going to take me a little
Okay.
bit longer.
Coming up on Supreme Justice.
He wanted it up for the party. We just hung it like a regular person would hang it.
For nearly 2 hours, you're there, and this is what you did then. You put a nail on the wall and hung the
You
picture.
you got to figure out where to put it.
And later,
What were your concerns about the property?
I mean, it's totally an eyesore, Yana. It's totally an eyesore. You can see that just
The
from
worst house on the block kind of thing?
Definitely that one.
Is that you?
Depends on someone else's standards.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Supreme Justice is back with the case of Stan Montgomery, who is suing Bill Dyer for negligence and property damage.
What did you decide was the necessary earthquake proofing for this picture?
It would be to put the locking hooks in the wall.
You did that.
No, I didn't have the locking hook in. I just had the regular hooks in.
You stated earlier that you had locking hooks on this, and I asked where were they, and you said they're probably on the wall.
Depends on if you're going into the study.
But why couldn't you have done that when you were there?
Because he was kind of pushing me along.
How long was he there?
he was late, first of all.
How late was
He
he?
was supposed to be there at 2 o'clock. He
Right.
didn't show up to 2:30.
But how long was he there?
He was there until about 4:45.
Okay. So I'm trying to understand, what were you doing all the time with this little picture right here?
He was taking pictures and gawking at how beautiful my house was.
Okay, so you decided it needs these locking hooks. What did you do to that picture to prepare it for these hooks?
No, there's a wire. We use the wire. The existing wire is fine. You can put the wire over the locking, and it just keeps it from bouncing out when there's an earthquake. Like a regular hook doesn't have that locking clip on there. So he wanted it up for the party. We just hung it like a regular person would hang it on just regular paint hanging hooks,
could've
not
done
the
that.
locking ones.
Right.
Yeah, because he
But
was having a
for
party.
nearly
He
2
wanted
hours
the
you were
artwork.
there, and this is what you did then. Well, you told me you didn't even do this because the picture was already with the wire.
Yeah.
Okay, so you put a nail on the wall and hung the picture.
You got to figure out where to put it.
2 hours
He
to do
wants
that.
it in the middle of the wall. He wants it to look good. We got
Right.
to figure out where the. Like
he
I said,
was
where
saying,
the
are you
studs
going to
are.
ever get out of here, I guess? You're saying, when are you leaving?
I was pushing him out.
Okay.
He had his truck parked in the way, and
Right.
the caterers couldn't they needed to get access to the driveway.
Right.
And so I'd literally say, dude, you got to move your truck now.
Okay.
And he took his time. He took his sweet time coming out like he had all day. He was just walking around, looking at stuff, and had no sense of urgency whatsoever.
Right. Did he take pictures outside of your house too?
No, he didn't take pictures
Just
outside.
all inside?
Just inside.
Okay. So then when you came back to them, though, the picture was hung.
I was watching him do it, and it should have taken him less time.
How much time did it take him to just hang the picture on the wall?
More than 2 hours.
So basically all the time was either taking pictures or trying to hang this on the wall. That was it? So tell me what happened to the picture.
The next day there was a tremor, because we live in the hills. There's tremors all the time.
Right.
And it fell off the wall,
Right.
breaking the frame, as you can see here.
Right.
And here, and the other side right there.
Right.
And I had to get it reframed.
Okay, can you bring this picture up here? Because I want to get a feel for what we're talking about here.
It fell right off the
we
wall, Your
thought
Honor, and cracked.
Be careful. But the glass didn't break.
The glass did. That's something else. That's some
It's a plexiglass.
acrylic.
Okay.
That's
so I
that's
can
in
pick this
place.
up right here. I can pick this up very easily.
2
right
hours
here.
for that.
Right. Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder, what did you do for 2 hours? This is not, and you told me you didn't even put this up. So what did you do? You can take it back.
The
Elijah.
artwork isn't in there.
Well, forget the art. It was in there
I got
already.
pictures of artwork. You want to see it?
We put the
Do you want to
artwork-
show me?
Sure.
Let me see.
There's also a text message, a copy of the text messages as well.
Between-
Him saying he's going to be there too. He
Right.
didn't show up for a half hour late.
Right.
There's also the receipt in there for how much I had to pay to have the frame redone
Right.
by a different contractor.
But you haven't had it redone yet.
It's been redone. It's hanging in the wall. This is
Oh,
the broken frame.
this
I'm just
is
trying to
old.
get my money for the frame.
Right. Oh, it's a nice picture.
Thank you.
I don't understand what you did there.
We just,
You didn't put the wire on there. It was already on there. And you put something on the wall, which in the beginning you told me were earthquake hooks, but turns out to be they were just regular hooks.
they were regular.
And then you left. And why didn't you do the earthquake hooks?
Well, like I say, we do an assessment when we go out there. I didn't know whether I was going to use earthquake hooks, brackets.
You got a
or-
truck that's
or-
got something in it.
or some-
Probably hooks, earthquake hooks.
I didn't. Yeah. I
He was
didn't have-
taking his time, Your Honor.
I
He should
didn't
have
have
seen
it in the truck.
So why do you think he failed here? What was the reason why you failed?
Yeah, how?
Excuse me?
Sorry, Pam.
I had to do an assessment, and so I didn't know what I was going to need on the job site.
What you got in
So-
the back of your truck? Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? What's in the truck?
We didn't. Yeah, we
Isn't
don't.
that why you have the truck? You know, you call an electrician because you need some work done, and he comes in and he assesses it, and he goes, you know, I'm going to need this, I'm going to need this. Let me go back to my truck and get it and come back. You had a truck outside. So he charged you $250 to frame it and then $250 to install it, to hang it on the wall.
That's correct.
Is that right? And then it fell after the trimmer, and you had to pay somebody else to do the same thing.
That is correct.
I'm ready to roll. Okay, I believe that you failed the plaintiff. I don't know either what you were doing all that time. I don't know why you didn't have the proper stuff in your truck. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $519.83. Good luck to you both.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $519.83.
I guess as long as he's, happy with the result, then hopefully I stood by my work.
I'm here to get my money. I'm standing man, baby.
Coming up,
And nuisance cases have to do with property. And you have to prove certain things, one of which is that you own the property and that some activity of the defendant is encroaching on your ability to enjoy the property.
you're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. David Kramer is suing Billy O'Sullivan in the amount of $2,500. Mr. Kramer claims his neighbor rents his backyard out for parties and says the food that's left on the ground attracts rats, and the defendant needs to pay his exterminator fees.
Mr. Kramer, you are suing Mr. O'Sullivan for $2,500 for a nuisance.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what happened that led to us being here today?
Well, Your Honor, how we got here today is because we got to be too excessive with the amount that I have to spend on exterminating fees.
Okay, you're saying he doesn't keep his property up nice?
Not at all.
What were
And
your concerns about the property?
It's totally an eyesore. You can see that just
The
from
worst house on the block kind of thing?
Definitely that one.
Is that you?
Depends on someone else's standards.
Okay, do we have a picture of the house?
Actually, I do, Your
Let
Honor.
me see the house.
I have several items in there, actually. But one of them is the picture
see.
of my backyard
Okay.
and his backyard.
Okay, and all of this stuff that we're talking about is in the backyard?
The majority of my concern is from the backyard.
Well, is this his backyard here?
Yes.
That's my backyard, yes.
Well, all I see in this picture are two sofas. Mm-hmm. But what's the worst house on the block thing?
It's the amount of activity he has in the backyard. He uses his backyard for rentals, which is whatever,
Right.
for parties and for events or whatnot.
Right.
But that leaves hot dogs and crumbs and cups and pops and all these things.
Right.
And the rats have increased.
Okay, but you are suing him for a nuisance. And nuisance cases have to do with property. And you have to prove certain things, one of which is that you own the property and that some activity of the defendant is encroaching on your ability to enjoy the property or endangering your health and your
Yes,
own
ma'am.
property.
Yes, ma'am. So
Okay, but so what is that?
if I'm honest, this whole thing is annoying. Me being here is annoying. This is
I'm annoyed that you're here too.
Coming up,
That's your yard. Mm-hmm. Right.
yeah.
And those rats are hanging out at your house.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately.
you're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Supreme Justice is back with the case of David Kramer, who is suing Billy O'Sullivan for nuisance.
I still don't know why we're here.
Well, because the rats, the parties he has, it leaves pops, cookies, cakes, all
You
these
got
things
pictures of that?
I don't have pictures of that, but I do have the statement from the professional that I hired, the professional exterminator, to come out and do an assessment of why this rat problem has not decreased.
That is called hearsay. That's some sort of out-of-court statement that you want to offer into evidence, but without having the person that uttered the statement. It's hearsay. That's your yard. Right.
Yeah.
And those rats are hanging out at your house.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Right. What is this about? Why are we really here?
Well, if you're asking my personal opinion, I think he's just trying to take out a grievance against me for the fact that he's been overcharged for his extermination fees. If you look at the evidence, he's suing me for $2,500 based on multiple exterminator visits. And I'm someone who takes care of these issues myself. Like, I know that the neighborhood has a rat issue.
They've always had rats in the neighborhood.
It's an urban area, and we're in Phoenix, and they're all got to congregate to where all the people are and where all the people's food is. That's just a fact of life.
Okay, but what about these parties that he talked about you have?
So I have been in charge of this property for a little over 5 years now for my family. In the last 4 years, I've started renting the backyard and parts of the house out for outdoor gatherings or parties.
Is that allowed in that neighborhood?
As far as I've had no other issues.
You know what, you need to do some research.
I mean, honestly, Your Honor, my point was not to attack him on any moral thing other than the fact that this is unhealthy, this is ridiculous, and you can clearly see it.
See
I have
what?
children.
No, I don't. The only thing I see clearly are 2 rats in your yard.
Judge Karen's verdict when Supreme Justice returns. You're watching Supreme Justice with Judge Karen.
What evidence do you think you have shown me that this man has a rat infestation?
What evidence
have you shown?
Well, other than the statements.
You didn't show me that.
And the fact that I have paid for multiple inspections.
Maybe you are creating the rats.
No, I mean, my home is meticulous. I am in real estate. I've been in this business for 15 years. I know how to maintain and keep up a property. I also can cite when someone is not.
The standard is the prevailing party prevails by the preponderance of the evidence. Okay, you brought this case and you needed to bring evidence, right? You didn't bring me anything. Rats in your property and 2 couches in this man's yard.
His couch is like a VIP hotel for rats. That's what it is.
Well, let me
if
tell
I
you.
was a rat, I want to be his house too.
I should charge more.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? I feel your pain about dealing with these rats, but the bottom line, it's not about how I feel or what I think. It's about what evidence you've presented to me, and you have not presented enough. I'm ready to rule. Judgment for the defendant. Good luck to you.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
I'm just sorry that he can't find his Pied Piper.
I wasn't prepared for him to be like a rat whisperer and have to have all these extra documents for something I feel like it's so obvious, but it's cool.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.